So if you can spend over $1,000 on your computer but wanna stay under the $1,500 mark, well, this is the right video for you, because what we have here today is a little beast which came out right around the $1,300 standpoint with all brand new, all latest hardware. And this thing is gonna be very easy to upgrade in the future and be basically future-proof for the next few years. You can also turn this into a very high-end gaming PC which actually performs like a PC which costs over $4,000. So with that said, welcome back at ImWateringPSUs, and let's get started. Now the first thing I would need to point out is this is an Intel build. Now a lot of people dislike Intel in this period, so if you want a Ryzen build, I also do that on the channel. We have different ones, and I have to say, very often you can get better value for money if you're just gaming going Ryzen. I would actually recommend to most of you, if you strictly game, you just want to play video games, you may want to go AM5. But here we are going LGA 1851 with the new Arrow Lake CPUs, and what we have here today is an Intel Core Ultra 5 245KF. Why the KF? Because we don't need the integrated graphics and we get quite a bit less on the price, at least in Italy where I live. So we are paying $30 less by going with the KF version, which may not seem like a lot, but it is quite a lot. Now the worst part about going with an Intel build at the moment is we do not have locked motherboards yet. So we are forced to buy a Z890, and what I got here is a Z890S Pro from MSI with the Wi-Fi, because hey, if I had to spend $200 on a motherboard, I may as well get a decent one with Wi-Fi and stuff. And we're also gonna use that later on to extract more performance out of our PC. Since we have to buy one, we may as well use it, which is why we went with Kingdian DDR5 6600 MHz RAM. You don't have to buy Kingdian specifically, but they are a brand new RAM maker and they use the same chips from Samsung, Hynix, Micron as everybody else. The same ones as Corsair uses, and they cost a bit less because they are not Corsair. They are fully integrated with the RGB right here, as you can see, and honestly they get a full pass from me. The chip performs very well in overclocking, but the important thing is not this RAM stick. The important thing is, if you're going Intel, you want high-speed RAM. If possible, get CUDIM RAM. This is regular RAM. You really want to push those speeds higher because this Intel architecture shines with proper RAM. I think it's what a lot of reviewers were missing in the initial review of the Core 5 Ultras. And now they are already a lot better because the scheduler is being fixed in real time in Windows. Honestly, I really like the platform and it's why I picked. But anyways, enough with this. For the SSD, you just need a 1TB drive, but I recommend you get a Gen 4 one. Now listen, if you're just playing video games, you could also go really budget and get a Gen 3 drive, but for the extra $20, just get a Kingston Fury 7000 MB drive. I think it's worth it. Faster decompression speeds, you know, just overall snappier PC. I think it may be worth it. So with our motherboard combo out of the way, let's then talk about the cool stuff about this build. And it is the cooler, case, and power supply, because I went full Xilence with this. Now Xilence is a brand you may not have heard of because it's mostly popular in Europe, but they are making very good products for very cheap. So what we have here today is their all-in-one water cooler in white with an infinity mirror which can also be rotated, and it's very easy to install. They give you a tube of paste inside, and the fans are pre-installed in the all-in-one, making the install a lot easier. And we decided to get that because this way we have a lot of cooling, because we're gonna need it to get the extra performance out of the CPU, which again is the most important thing if you buy Intel. I can't stress this enough. I think nowadays if you buy Intel, you can't go with a cheap cooler. You need a good cooler, good case, good power supply, good RAM. But if you do all that, it's gonna be a good option compared to AMD. Of course, a more expensive one, but it's gonna be a pretty good one. So again, all Xilence. So I've got the Xilence Glam white case. It's an aquarium-like case with quite a bit of interesting things. So first of all, it's massive. Like, you can put a 4090 or a 5090 into this thing easily. But then, do you see this reversed blade inclined fan right here on the bottom? Well, that pushes air straight onto the GPU. And we also have an integrated anti-sag bracket. The whole thing feels very premium. It's all rubber covered, and we have a lot of rubber grommets as well to pass the cables through. Glass, you can feel its quality. It's not just cheap plastic, which you find sometimes. And the case comes with a whopping 5 included fans, 4 of which are 140 millimeters wide. The airflow in this case is amazing. And you also get a full fan controller in the back, controllable via the button on top, controllable via the motherboard, via the 3-pin RGB connector, and also you get pre-routed cabling and very good cable management. Listen, if you've been following the channel for a while, the 2 people of you who have been following me, you will know that I never do cable management. I just make it look good from the front and then just close it because I think it's easier to take off. Here, I did just that, And look at how clean the backside is. This looks like it's cable managed because they cable managed it for you. And there's a bonus if you go with all the same brand fans, because they look a lot better and they're a lot easier to synchronize, as you can see. So we also went with Xilence for the power supply. Now, what I picked is a more budget-end PSU. I didn't want to spend 200 bucks on the PSU, so it's a 750 watt 80 plus bronze non-modular option, but because I knew I was going to use all the cables except for one SATA, it didn't really care, it was non-modular, and again, going back, you can just see that the cable management is done very well. And this thing comes in at like 80 bucks, brand new. So how can you complain? I mean, 750 watts real power. I've tested it even with a 4070 Ti and a Ryzen 9 7950X in the past, the same model. I've had it on a channel quite a while, and just like that, PC is finished. So first of all, just a little comment on the aesthetic. Do you think it looks good? I think it looks a lot better than most PCs in this price point, which means we're on the right path. But just take a look at how much empty space there is for future upgrades and at how much airflow there is. I mean, you can actually feel the fan push from the bottom. Now the PC is built, let's actually talk performance and what you should do. Very important if you want to extract the most performance out of it. So first of all, there is the debate Windows 10, Windows 11, which for example Brian from Tech City speaks a lot about. And if you go Windows 10 at the moment, since the scheduler of those Intel CPUs in Windows 11 isn't the best, you may actually get a bit more performance, but I would recommend you go Windows 11 personally, because I think they're fixing it. I think we're getting there. But what you definitely should do is some tweaks. So first of all, of course, enable the XMP so that your RAM runs at full speed. But I would actually recommend you go ahead and tweak the RAM, because you can get quite a bit out of it more if you actually tweak it. Now, I want to do a guide on how to tweak it. If you're seeing this in the future, I will have a guide. But now we are right at launch of these CPUs, and it's pretty complicated to actually put together a proper RAM guide. So what you should do in the meantime is just enable the XMP and either undervolt or overclock your CPU. Don't leave it at stock. If you have a massive cooler like we have here today, just overclock it. You're gonna get a lot of performance out of it, especially if you overclock the cache. And for that I have a video, or maybe it's coming out next Monday, depending on when you see this. But check out the overclocking tutorial. And if you have a smaller cooler, undervolt the tutorial. And do the same to your GPU, just for good measure, okay? And now, after you've done all that, what you have here is a productivity beast, which will allow you to stream, have like multiple processes in the background while you're playing, because this CPU has 6 P cores, 8 E cores, and it's very good in multi-threading, and it will also game very, very well. Speaking of which, here's my results. With this build overclocked, not stock, okay, disclaimer. Now we are just hitting the frame limit 1080p in Apex Legends. We are doing 300 FPS lock, which is good start. Then if we move it to Fortnite, we are going well over 300, so we are not even going to cover that, because you can do like 360 Hz gaming on this thing. And then in Warzone, which is pretty heavy, we are pushing over 200. So I'm really, really happy. If you're playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6, this thing is going to be good for 240 Hz OLED gaming at 1080p. So it's a very good hybrid build, good for gaming, good for productivity, good for streaming. You can do whatever you want with it, 3D modeling, I guess. And during all of that, the PC is staying very much cool. I will show you guys the temperature results from the CPU and also from the GPU, and also a few synthetics from the stock performance. If you overclock it properly, you can get around 15 to 20% with proper RAM. And again, this King Bank RAM, I'm pretty impressed because the XMP just works. 7600 MHz is a big jump for non-CUD RAM, and it just works. So I'm pretty happy about how it came out. And I think if you want to build an Intel PC, or like, let's say a more balanced, not gaming only PC, in that budget range from between the 1000 and 1500, this is a good choice. But I want to hear what you guys think about it, so let me know down below in the comments. Let me know if you agree with me, or if you would have changed anything about the build. Again, drop a comment so we can help someone else who is just looking to build their first PCs, or maybe another PC. And I hope to see you guys again in another video, and I wish you guys a very good day. Bye bye.